All right, today I'm going to do an overview of my strength program. All right, we're going to assume that you started off training following my programs, you began with hypertrophy, got through those 12 weeks, and now you have found yourself at the strength program. At first glance, you should notice a couple things. One of them, primarily, is you're going to see the percentages have gone up a fair amount. And you also go through the program and you'll see a point where those percentages are getting upwards and above, in some cases 90% of 1, 5, or 3 RM. Okay? One thing you're also going to notice at first glance is that the volume, the reps and sets, the total work volume has also come down. Right? Because what the strength program is, it is a mathematical sort of focus on how do we develop strength. All right? It's the physiological basis is that we are trying to stress that organism out, okay? Because what we've just gotten is we've done hypertrophy. We have just got an increase in muscle tissue. Once we get an increase in muscle tissue, what we need to do is teach the body to produce a higher force with that new increased muscle tissue. That's why I say, first step, get new muscle, get new muscles, hypertrophy. Then we make the new muscles, that new muscle mass, strong. So that's strength. All right. Now, just like the hypertrophy program that's going to transfer into the strength program is, again, the prescribed reps and sets are really the focal point. Okay. If it says X reps and sets, it means X reps and sets. All right. But what you're going to also do, again, just like hypertrophy, is if you're like, I can't do those percentages, those are too high. So you bring those percentages down, okay, to the point where you can still do all the reps and sets, and at the best of your ability, your state of acceleration through that entire set, through the entire program, the entire day, we don't want a deviation in your state of acceleration, whether you're moving yourself, you're moving a bar, you're moving a band, or you're moving a pulleyed object, whatever it may be, okay? The best thing you can do is maintain a constant state of acceleration with the highest amount of mass possible within those prescribed reps and sets, okay? Because that, from a mathematical standpoint, is strength, okay? And when we're talking strength program, we're trying to improve strength. What we're really talking about is choosing a mass, right, from a very stable position that forces the brain, okay, to basically, what it's called is rate coding, all right? We're trying to improve rate coding. Rate coding is simple, okay? And that's how we also know, again, it's rate coding exists in hypertrophy and power and speed, but specifically in rate coding means this. It means, okay, so you've walked into a gym, you've been working out for quite a while, you're doing shoulder presses, I can use any example. I grab my set of 40-pound dumbbells, okay, I get in position to start doing my press. My brain perceives a stress, obviously it's in my hand, okay? And historically, that 40 pounds, my body has said to move those weights, it requires X number of muscle fibers to fire at X force. Okay? And I'm pretending that your brain is a bit of a computer so you guys can see what's going on. Okay? You have historical knowledge based on what you've done before with those weights. Okay? Rate coding means, based on that perceived weight or that actual weight, your body will recall X number of muscle fibers to move it from what you've done historically. Okay? So you're like, well, okay, that's kind of weird. Okay, basically layman's terms is, if you've done it before, your body is going to contract just enough, the minimum amount of work. It's going to try to do the minimum, right, to move that weight. So here's how a lot of people have experienced rate coding without even knowing it. Right? You've laid down on the bench press, right? You take the bar, you move it a couple times, you rack it, you put some more weight on, you move it around a couple times, you rack it, and you're like, I'm pretty tight. You move it around pretty soon, it's getting kind of heavy. So what do? Your body gets into a good stable position and you start repping that weight out. All of a sudden you're like, man, I feel great. Yep. Because of the mechanical position you've put yourself in, right? You've become efficient. So your body goes, hey, recall those muscle fibers to contract so you can move this, right? And that is what strength training is you're not necessarily going to increase muscle fiber size in a strength program. You shouldn't. If it is, the percentages aren't high enough, or the volume is too great and the percentage is down and you're getting hypertrophy. Are you going to get bigger during a strength program? You will a little bit, but nothing compared to an actual hypertrophy program, because strength training is about improving the contraction force. Also, managing that higher force, okay? i.e. running, right? Improving your ability to manage ground force contact on that ground, okay? So yes, absolutely, strength training is a muscle-specific thing, but because of the mass that I'm asking you to move, the brain comes in and goes, hey, we've got to get involved in this process. We can't just, be willy-nilly and move this weight around and slop it. It forces a contraction. It forces stability. Now, it doesn't force the correct position oftentimes, which that's a whole other issue, which is why I've done these videos, okay? So the focus of strength training is your nervous system and improving that contraction force, not getting bigger, okay? And it's not about getting faster, okay? Because it's a bit of a play on words, okay? Because we think of powerlifters as this and strongman as this, and really what we're doing is we're focused on energy systems, okay? Strength training is primarily glycolytic and phosphocreatine, depending on the percentage, because again, we have strength training and then we have absolute strength, which your percentages should be above 90%, okay? And powerlifters, competitive powerlifters experience that absolute strength benefit because of the sport. And that's where you see the problem with a lot of people that are plateauing. They're lifting too heavy too often. It's become an absolute strength issue, and the nervous system begins shutting down their ability to contract and manage that mass. Okay, plateau. So keep this in mind. Your percentages can go up and down, but we're trying to keep it a little bit higher than obviously hypertrophy. But the reps and sets, again, I keep saying why acceleration, because there are three components to a weight room, right? From a standpoint of physics. We have the mass of the object, okay, or ourselves, okay, or the resistance applied to it, okay. We have the state of acceleration. Is it moving slow? Is it moving fast? Is it constant? Am I moving and it's beginning to get slower? So we have a diminishing in the state of acceleration, which is not ideal for strength development or hypertrophy, and certainly not for power and speed, okay? And the other piece is distance, okay? Reps. So in terms of physics, mass, acceleration, and distance covered are the only three variables, okay? So strength training isn't about accumulating the most amount of distance. That's hypertrophy, okay? It's not about accumulating the highest amount of velocity or acceleration. That's power and speed. What we're trying to do is keep a constant state of acceleration as close as possible through the reps and sets, but keep those percentages higher. And then we get, like I said, hypertrophy is get new muscle. Strength training is make that new muscle strong. The next step is make that new strong muscle fast. And that's the power and speed.